Hey guys, welcome back to Hendrickson Family Farm. In today's video, we are going to be replacing the rear rotors and brakes on a 2013 Chevy 3500. The first step we're going to do is we're going to do the passenger side first. Before we get started, we're going to block the front tires so it doesn't roll. It's just that you don't have to do it this way. And since we're doing one side at a time, there's really no need to. It's just something that I do. I don't know. I'm just going to. And then we're going to jack it up, and then we're going to get going on changing the rotor on this side. This is the brand that we got here. I don't know if you can see it for the shadow there. This is the brand of brakes that they picked up. A new oil seal, and then new sets of brakes. You can, but don't replace the rotor without replacing the brakes. You can replace the brakes without replacing the rotor if the rotor's still good. But they with their business, they were out somewhere and they had to get brakes put on the truck because something happened. I'm not quite sure. I didn't ask a whole lot of questions, and they said that the rotor was bad on this side. So what we're going to do is get it jacked up, changed out. It's not going to be real quick. It takes a little bit of time on these because you have to pull the axles out. So I'll show you guys what we're going to do. And so one of the first things we're going to start working on is getting the tire off of the truck. And tires off. Now we're going to have to take the brakes off of it. And you can, I don't know if you can see it yet or not, but that rotor is pretty shot. But what we have to do is we have to take the whole brake housing off of it and hang it up out of the way, and then we have to pull these bolts, pull the axle out, and then pull the hub off. So the next step is to pull the axle off, and the axle is attached to this outer deal right here. That's what all of these 8 bolts are for. So I took a breaker bar and broke them all kind of loose. So then I just take my bolts and set them all up here, and we'll clean them all up here in a minute. And then you're going to want to have like a shop rag, and then so I have this little catch deal to catch any oil that comes out. You may need a little pry bar to get in there. We'll see. Oh, no, it popped out pretty easy. So we don't get a bunch of stuff stuck to it when we pull that shaft out, we'll take a rag and we'll just kind of wipe it down as we come out with it. And then when you set it down, I like to wrap this rag around the splines so it doesn't get damaged or anything. I'll just wrap it around like so and then set it down up here on the back of this flatbed. And you got to make sure you give yourself plenty of room. You don't want to be doing this in the shop and not have room to come out with it, because then you're going to have to put it all back in and move it so you can. And then the next thing is we got to take this clip off. So then you just and you want to try to pull it as straight as possible. And then it comes off just like so. And try not to bend it, because that's what retains. There's a little key at the very top of it. So I didn't find my little magnet, so we're going to try just do this with 2 picks. I don't know how well it's going to work. I got it moved back just enough. And then you just want to make sure the orientation. This one is perfectly square, so I don't really have to worry about Worry about what the orientation of it. And then what I like to do, that way I know I got it tight enough when I go back on, is I'll count the threads just right here beside my key. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 coming off of it. This thing should not be super tight. I mean, you see what I mean? It wasn't tight at all. I did it with the screwdriver, and I really wasn't trying too awful hard. And then you don't want it to fall in the dirt, especially if you're working on dirt. Getting it off of there can be kind of the tricky part because it is kind of heavy. And now with that lock, the deal off of the bearings, it will want to fall down. Well, guys, the camera died again, or it didn't die again. It died. But I did go ahead and get the rotor off. Before we get too carried away up there with that, we're gonna kind of wipe this off a little bit. Right here where the seal sets, we'll make sure there's no gouging or anything. And we'll also get brake cleaner and clean it off too. I just want to make sure that we get any, if there's any bad things on here, that we see it. And then we'll just go ahead and stuff this in. Then we'll just go ahead and stuff this rag in the hole just to keep any dirt and any debris from going in there. But you just want to verify that the seal surface is good, the bearing surfaces are good, and they are. There's nothing wrong with those. And now we'll go to the rotor assembly. There are bolts inside of here. We have to take those out and then clean it all up and replace this seal in there. So it looks like a 19 millimeter or 3/4 inch inside of there, and there's 8 bolts in that. So we'll get that going real fast. I don't know if the impact will take them out or not. Yeah, she's pretty tight. I might have to go get another ratchet. I got another, so this is my long breaker bar. I got another long ratchet that we can use too to wedge in here to get these off. Actually, I got a pry bar right here. So it'd be a lot handier with 2 people doing this, but we're gonna do it with 1. Well, let's say we're gonna do it with 1. We might have to go get. So I got some Loctite. And it doesn't take, I see people put a buttload of this stuff on. It does not take that much. That's all I ever put on. Just, I'll show you on another one. I'll just run it right down it. Just like that. That's all I put on there. Just a personal preference. I mean, put on there what you feel comfortable with. I feel comfortable with that because I've had to get this crap off of something before and it sucks. So there's some people that say wait to put the bolts in. You don't have to wait. It actually helps torque them back down without waiting. And that's the reason why they were so hard to get out of there, is because they had the Loctite on them. Because these bolts aren't big enough to be torqued as high as they were. And you want to do a crisscross pattern like when you put a tire on. And just because we can, we'll go ahead and throw this breaker bar on here and tighten them up some more. I mean, we might as well, we have everything out here for it already. And then on that seal, whenever you get ready to put it on there, I got some grease that I'm going to put on that seal to keep it from binding up, and it'll make it slide right onto that where it sets at on the shaft, because we want it to go on there smooth. We don't want it to tear or anything. So let's take this over there and get it put in. So before we put it on, I already lubed up around that just like I did on the seal, because that's where the seal sets at, is on that top ledge, and then your race and stuff goes here. So now we put our nut and stuff back on. They actually make a special socket for this. I just don't have one. I don't work on enough Chevys or cars as far as that matter goes, but if I did it every day still for a job, I would, but I don't. Just because you count it out like this does not mean it's right. So that's just to get you in the rough ballpark where it needs to be at, right? So because they are used bearings, you see how much play that has? It still needs to be tight. It can't have that much slop on it. And you want it to move free like that. And you want to make sure that you don't have up and down, in and out play. So we'll count and see where it's at now. 4, 5, 6 fell off. That's actually right where it was. And then you put your little retainer, and it has this little tab on the little retainer there. Yeah, you might be able to see it. The little tab goes in that groove, and then you want to push it back pretty even so it sets in there flat. Because you don't want that key to come out. And we got to go clean up the axle that goes in there, and then I'll show you sticking it in there. I really don't need to show you this part because it's pretty cut and dry. The cleaning of the shaft, that is. Well, guys, we got the wheels back on, the hub back in. We slid the axle back on, put the seal on it, got it all. We don't have it bolted on yet. But that's all we got left, is to run the 8 bolts in there, and then we're done. I hope you guys learned something, even if it's just I don't know, just something. But that's going to be it. I still have the other side to do, but I don't need to record both sides. One side's good enough, otherwise it'll be a 2-hour long video, and we don't need a 2-hour long video. But we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Have a good one.